All the things that surround us, everything that we see today, isn't here by chance. They all started with one small thing that many overlook, and without it, everything falls apart. A building needs a singular brick. Without that singular brick, it will all crumble. Physique progress starts the same way, not with motivation, but with structure. And that structure starts off with your training. One of the key fundamental parts of physique development. Are your sessions structured a specific way within your training split? Does each movement within your split lead on from each other? Because if you're just pairing random exercise together when you come into the gym, there's no wonder why you're struggling to remain consistent with your training. I know exactly what structure my training split is. I know exactly why each exercise leads into the next one. For example, my reverse crunches lead into me having more intra-abdominal pressure within my deadlifts because I have more blood into my core, helping me with a better connection. My deadlifts then lead into my lat pull downs because I have more blood in my lats, so I'm able to feel my lats a little bit more. If I didn't have this and I was just stringing together reverse crunch, then into bicep curl, then into some squats, there's not really much structure there. I'm not going to see as much progress as I'd like to. This is why structure within a whole program is super important to see consistent progress, because pairing random exercise together equates to just no progress. Now, once you've got structure with your program, you need structure with your setups of the exercise. You can't just jump into an exercise and expect to get the most out of it without actually considering your setup. So something that I do with my training at the moment is logging down the height of the bench, logging down the notch of the machine to remind myself when I go in, my setup is standardized throughout the whole exercise. Now, with the single arm lat pull down, I'm thinking about really bracing my arm against this bench, keeping my chest in a more neutral position rather than elevated to put a little bit more length on my lats. And I'm grabbing the handle that is opposing the opposite side of the working side, so I get a little bit of a stretch on the way up to lengthen that lat before I then come down into that contraction. Thinking about dragging my elbow down towards my hip with my shoulder, squeezing, and then following that same motion out. So think about dragging my elbow along the floor and up towards the cable machine. Once you've got that structure of your setups, you're honestly going to get the most out of your sessions, because every single session you know you're going to be feeling your lats, feeling your biceps, feeling your quads in a squat, and you're going to see so much more progress because of it. Similarly to the structure of your split and your movements within your split, you also need structure with your reps and sets. You can't just expect to go in and do 10 to 12 reps of an exercise, because that's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to progress you. You need to be training to failure across a variety of rep ranges, anywhere between 6 and 30 reps. So you structure it. Are you doing a top set and a back off set? Are you doing 3 straight sets, 8 to 12? Are you doing a 10 to 15? Are you doing a cluster set? You decide structure it that way and progress it, push it to failure each time. Currently in my training at the moment, we're doing more intensity based stuff. So I did 2 straight sets of deadlifts today, a top and a back off set on the lat pull downs. And then the rest of the session was majority straight sets, purely because they're more of the smaller muscle groups, so they tend to respond well for more volume. So biceps, rear delts, abductors, abduction, that sort of thing. But I have decided that I'm no longer filming my sets for analysing my technique. I'm actually filming it to count my bloody reps. I filmed a set of my chest supported rows, and in my head, I counted 12 reps. I did 10. So I'm no longer analysing my form when it comes to my videos. Form's probably fine. I'm just analysing how many freaking reps I'm actually doing. So today's session actually did feel really strong. I am obviously 9 weeks out for my first ever bodybuilding show, 22 weeks out for my, I think it's 22 weeks, 22 weeks and then 25 weeks out for my second and third show. And strength is still there, energy isn't. It's slowly getting lower and lower, but that is part and parcel of getting shredded for show, shredded for photo shoots, things like that, because at the end of the day, my glycogen levels are starting to get depleted now. Starting to run flat, so it's harder to get pumps in the gym, but that is part of it, because then when I start to refeed myself up, that's where my physique's going to start filling out. That's where I'm going to look bigger than I actually am, because you are going to go through this phase in diets where you generally feel really skinny and you start to feel like you're looking worse before you look better. That you need to ride that wave as long as you can, because when you then refeed, it's going to have way more of an effect and way more of an impact on your physique. Top tip as well when you're dieting: sparkling water, but not the normal unflavored stuff. That stuff is shit. It tastes like TV static. Get the flavored stuff. White grape and blackberry is what I've got at the moment. Top tier flavor, or just the standard lemon lime. It's like sipping on a Sprite. Like I said earlier, I'm 9 weeks out now, which is crazy. It's come around super, super quick. But I also realized that a lot of these vlogs don't actually show my physique. I just talk about the things that are involved with bodybuilding. So like the routine, the structure, your surroundings, who you surround yourself with. So this is my progress photos from Sunday, so start of week 9. And it's after a pull day. I always do them after a pull day because this is the area for me that I've been trying to grow in my off season, which has been about a year and a half long. And we have seen some definitive changes now. Starting to see some more lines coming through, starting to see more hamstring, which is great because I have been focusing on that. And with unfortunately training at the Mecca or crap gyms, Pure Gym, they have very ill-equipped equipment for hamstring growth. So we have really had to work on programming and execution of the exercises that they do have in order for me to grow my hamstrings. If I had the luxury of going to a better gym, yes, I would have maybe seen a bit more progress. And I'm of the advocate of like the equipment you have does make a difference. It does make a difference, like 1% difference. But if you don't know how to use it or get the most out of it, then you know the basic version of that exercise is probably gonna still be better. But again, you still need to know how to get the most out of the basic version in order for you to see the most progress. If you are just swinging a weight around and not really seeing any progress with it, you're not gonna get anything out of training whatsoever. So execution needs to be on point. Now, something I am struggling with my posing at the moment is actually getting my quads to fire up. And something I found last prep was that my quads were quite inflamed. I was doing like an hour of cardio every single day, and it took a long time for them to actually come in and be shredded and see it on the photos in my photo shoot. But as soon as I stopped training legs on peak week, the start of the peak week, my legs came in fine. So I'm not too worried about it just yet. I only have 1 quad day in a week, so the volume is fine. It's just inflammation from doing so many steps, 120 minutes of cardio a week at the moment. And obviously a lot of just moving around with my clients and things like that. It's gonna happen. That you can't help your legs being inflamed, essentially. Rest when you can and making sure I am resting, but also keep on moving to burn those calories to keep myself in that deficit. Now, going back to the structure side of things, like your nutrition needs to be structured. When are you eating? What are you eating? How much are you eating? For me at the moment, like I'm on 2015 calories. Okay, I know exactly how much I'm having. I know exactly what I'm having every single meal and when I'm eating each meal. I plan it into my calendar to ensure that I know full well at 8 o'clock I'm having my dinner, for example, because that's where I feel most hungry, right? Often what happens is you have no structure with what time you're eating and you'll eat too early. And then when you are actually hungry, you're like, oh shit, got no food left to eat. So when you're thinking of your MyFitnessPal, think of it as like a diary for your day, like you would with your work calendar. You don't plan a meeting after you've finished it. You plan it in before it's happened so you know it's about to come up. So exactly the same with your nutrition. Plan out ahead of time and you won't find that discipline is a problem. And often one of the biggest things when it comes to discipline that lads struggle with is structure. When you have structure, you don't have to think about being disciplined. You just rinse and repeat the same structure, the same routine, week in, week out to get the result. Like I know for well that I was having Greek yogurt with frozen fruit and a little bit of granola post-training today. I planned it in, I made it, it's ready to go. And now all I have to do is focus on eating it and I can crack on the rest of my day. So the structure of your nutrition is super, super important. If you're also just eating random meals that are not actually providing you with enough energy, but also supporting the goal that you've got. Like if you're in a deficit, you're gonna need to focus on more voluminous foods. If you're still having calorie dense foods and very little on your plate, there's no wonder why you're struggling with hunger. That is obviously part and parcel of being in a diet is hunger, but there's no wonder why you're struggling it more than most because you're not filling out your plates with salads, vegetables, fiber, fruits, for example. I could very well have the high protein Arla yogurts, 200 grams, 25 grams of protein, bang for your buck, really, really good. But if I put that in a bowl, not really a lot there, right? But if I have 500 grams of Greek yogurt, which is the same amount of protein, that's gonna take me far longer to eat. It's gonna fill more space in my stomach and it's gonna satiate me until I get home for dinner from my evening clients where I'm gonna help them remain structured. Let's go. That's a wrap on today's evening clients. James again on the vlog, making absolute YouTube famous. Obviously wanted to get his leg press in. He's doing 150 for 2 sets of 10 at the moment. So we're probably going to up the weight on the first set. We're aiming to do a heavy and a light set because he's just done leg extension 3 sets, 2 sets of 6 to 8 rep squats, and then we're going to do a top and back off set on the leg press to give him a little bit of an experience of a new training style, which he's never done before, because we've normally just run high volume. And then my other James, I completely forgot to film. But the clients that are making the most progress are the ones that have the most structure. So they all follow the same program, specific to them, obviously. So they all do assessments at the start of the process. They all get given a set program based on that assessment, based on their requirements of their body, what available range of motion they've got, this sort of stuff. And that enables them to then make progress in their training. They then have the accountability to keep them on track, to make sure they're doing the things they need to do to keep their structure going, to maintain that routine. Finished up a evening walk as well, getting my last bits of steps in. My steps at the moment are at 13,000, but I tend to go over a little bit on some days. So today I've gone over by quite a bit, which means I won't do my cardio today, but I'll do my cardio tomorrow. So I'll do 40 minutes on the bike tomorrow, and then I'll do another 40 at the end of the week, right before I go on holiday, which would be a good way to finish off the week. But you probably noticed on my walk as well, we walked past a fair. Now, I absolutely used to love the fair as a kid. I can't get over how expensive it is now though. Like when I was younger, it used to be 50p on a Friday night for dodgems, like absolute class. You go down with your classmates and you absolute rinse the circuit. I always get really cocky and drive backwards, but then I do my first ever driving lesson on 5 lessons in, I still couldn't fucking change gear still. So it just goes to show I just get a little bit ahead of myself sometimes when I'm doing that sort of stuff. But it's so expensive now. It's like £5 for dodgems, which is ridiculous. And it, you know, you only get like probably like 3 or 4 go round on the track. Things are not as good as they were back when I was younger. I was having a conversation as well with my client earlier about things that we remember when we got brought up, and like Sunny D used to be £1 back in the day with all the adjectives in it, and it used to be the best drink known to man. Rustler's burgers, and then when they first come out, Magnums, you know, all these sorts of things are now just extortionate prices, and the way the world's going at the moment is ridiculous. So we're just heading home now, gonna head and have my dinner, which is cod fillets in a tikka masala sauce or paste. First time, so I'm intrigued. So I'm intrigued to find out how it goes. The last time I did it with a marinara sauce in a jar rather than a paste, and it ended up turning the burger that I was having it in into just a wet sponge. So wish me luck. And there you have it. Tikka masala cod with vegetables. About as filling as a fart. But the sauce was actually pretty good. I didn't burn it. It went really crispy as I expected, but it was about a 6 out of 10. The spicy, it was spicy. Spicier than a normal tikka masala in a jar, so I probably will be shitting through a knife and needle, but I probably will not be making it again other than tomorrow because I've got an unfortunate another fillet to get through. But this draws me to like making sure you're seasoning your food as well. Something, I know it's going off topic of structure, but like if you want to make your food easier to get down, season it. If you're on a meal plan and you're eating chicken and rice and salmon and rice and all this sort of stuff, that is as boring as cardboard. Season it. Put some paprika on it. Put some Cajun spices on it if you can tolerate that. Like it makes prep and dieting so much easier. Like on my oats, I put cinnamon, nutmeg. On my yogurt, I put cinnamon on my yogurt, believe it or not. It just makes it tastes so much better, and you start looking forward to your foods more, even because they are going to be repetitive for quite a while. If you're doing a long prep like me, it's going to be 25 weeks until my final show of the season. Like it's quite a long prep, and I'm already 9 weeks into I'm already 9 weeks out from my first show, so I've already been dieting for quite a long time. So to make it a little bit more enjoyable, add a little bit of spice to life and season your damn food. And as you've seen from my day, it's structured from the moment it starts, from the moment it ends. Everything is planned out, everything is meticulous, there's no guesswork. The routine is the start, but the structure is the combining element that you need in order for you to get the physique that you want, the result that you're after. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because this has been episode 9 of the journey to me stepping on the bodybuilding stage for the very first time.